Hey everybody, long time no see. This is Okie with Okie Man Outdoors, and I just wanted to talk to you about something that has nothing to do with outdoors, but something I've experienced, and I've talked to a lot of other people that are just not educated on this subject, and probably experiencing the same thing, but really not sure what it is. And that's atrial fibrillation, or some people just call it AFib. About 10 years ago, I was driving and felt like I was actually having a heart attack. Had like my heart was just beating in my neck. I got real flush in the face, short of breath. I was in a very rural part of the country. No one around. I stopped in the middle of the road, opened the door of my vehicle, just gasping for air. And I felt like I was going to die out in the middle of the woods. So I sat there a few minutes. It kind of eased up, and I drove on to my house, and it kind of resolved. I didn't have any issues with it, but I never forgot about it. Shortly after that, I was at church one night, and I just felt like I couldn't breathe, felt like I could not get enough air. So I walked outside and was just standing in the parking lot with the air blowing, the wind blowing in my face, trying to ease me or help me get some air. My wife walked up, which she's a nurse, and I told her what was going on, and she's like, "Oh no, you're going to the hospital." Got to the hospital, I got admitted, and I was in heart failure. And I've been in the medical field all my life, and I just knew what the symptoms are. I was educated on what the symptoms are of heart failure. I knew what the symptoms are for AFib, but I never connected the dots. So I'm going to tell you my experience with it. And some of y'all probably are experiencing the same thing. Once I was actually diagnosed with AFib, the doctor explained to me that I've been having these symptoms for years, and I realized I had been. And I thought they were just like little anxiety attacks, or maybe my blood sugar got low, and I felt clammy and sweaty, and my heart was beating. I just felt anxious for some reason. But he explained to me that atrial fibrillation, or AFib, the intensity of it and the occurrences over time increase. Meaning, over time, the symptoms that you are experiencing start getting worse. You start getting more noticeable symptoms. But also with that, the occurrences between the symptoms shorten. So where I was having events months apart, got to where they were a few months apart, weeks, and then become days. And that was just a progression of the disease of, or not disease, of the AFib progression. And let me explain to you what AFib is, and just in case you don't know. I'm not questioning anybody about their intelligence. I just want to give this information out. Inside your heart, there's a part of your heart that's called the SA node. And the purpose of that node is to send electrical impulses to your heart. And like anything, if you get shocked, you know how your body clenches up from that little shock? Well, it causes your heart to contract. So every time you get a heartbeat, it's because that muscle is contracting because it got an impulse from the SA node. And that's why we have a heart rate. They come back to back. You have one side of your heart that contracts, and then the other side of your heart contracts. That's where you get the bump bump from. The different sides of your heart are contracting at different times. Well, AFib is somewhere in your chamber of your heart, and I'm not sure why, will start sending false signals or electrical impulses to your heart and makes it contract irregular. And at one time, my heart rate got up to almost 200 beats per minute. And that's when I just could not get my breath. I could not catch my breath. My heart felt like it was beating in my neck. The anxiety I was feeling was based on just the symptoms. So I know that I've talked to other people about this, and other people's like, you know, I've had the same kind of symptoms. And my first thing is, when you have these symptoms, go to the doctor, get checked out. Because what happens, the downside of AFib, is sometimes when your heart throws so many electrical impulses and your heart's trying to keep up, that's what they call atrial flutter, where your heart just tremors and it really doesn't contract to push that blood out of your heart. And your blood will clot very fast with no movement. The blood in our body is constantly moving. It never stops, because if it did, it would clot. So if your heart rate gets up, or you get so many impulses for your heart to contract, and there's so many, your heart just trembles, you could get a blood clot in the chamber of your heart. And when it does finally contract, it pushes it straight to your brain or to your lung. Into your lung, it's called a pulmonary emboli. Into your head, you're going to have a stroke or a cranial emboli. And neither one of those are good, and they can be life-threatening. That's why you need to be diagnosed. If you have these symptoms that you think I'm explaining or talking about, go to the doctor. They may just be in the very early stages where there's medications they can put you on. One is taking an aspirin. The aspirin thins your blood, so if you do go into this fibrillation state, that you won't clot as fast, preventing you from getting any kind of emboli. So it's very important that when you have these symptoms, go see somebody. Seek out your primary care doctor. Have them send you to a cardiologist. The one I saw, it's called an EP, or electrophysiologist doctor, that specializes just in arrhythmia issues. Mine got so bad, I had to go in and have what they call a cardiac ablation. And what they do, this kind of like a heart cath. They go through one of your arteries in your groin. They go into your heart. They induce the heart to where it's making these false signals purposely, and they map it. What they do is they're trying to figure out exactly where these false signals are coming from, and they have a little device that they put through your artery, and it burns those spots that's producing these false signals to where they'll stop. Well, my situation was that I had a lot of false signals coming from the pulmonary vein, which exits one side of your heart and goes into your lungs. There were so many there that the burning that they did, the ablations that they did, caused scar tissue. And I now have chronic short of breath because that pulmonary vein contracts and enlarges and contracts with your heartbeat. If you get overexert yourself, you start breathing more, it enlarges to allow more blood flow into your lungs. And when you're sitting down, not doing anything like I'm doing now, it contracts down to a normal size because it doesn't need as much blood going to your lungs to produce that oxygen to go through your blood, through your body. So I had the ablation 10 years ago, and I have not had a situation or an episode of AFib. My doctor classified me as, hey, you're healed. I'm not on any kind of blood thinners. They keep you on blood thinners for a year or two afterwards, just for precautions. My doctor said because I haven't had any problems in so long, that I don't need to take it. And I feel pretty good, other than I just can't exert myself like I used to. I am an outdoor person. I love the outside. I love hiking. I love fly fishing. I love going in the mountains and where we live was very hilly, and you know, where I could run up the hill before, I can't even hardly walk up the hill now without getting at the top and bending over trying to catch my breath. But I know what causes the shortness of breath now, so I can adjust my activity level based on that. I still do stuff outdoors. I still go hiking. I still go fly fishing and put my waders on and get out in these streams and fight the rocks and do all that I want to do. But I just got to be smart about it. So I just wanted to send this out there more just as a informational video about AFib. Don't be scared or concerned that you have it. Just go see the doctor. You may have it, you may not. It may be anxiety that you're having. But again, it may be AFib. And both are a treatable event. So, like I said, I just wanted to bring this little video to you, explaining my situation, telling you what my personal experience was, and it may be different from you. Absolutely different. And, oh, one thing I wanted to add is I had a son. Well, I still have the son, but he started experiencing AFib, and at the time he was, you know, around 17, he went and had an ablation. But his ablation was a different part of the body, a different part of the heart chamber, where he has no side effects from it. He's fine. And I asked the doctor, is this hereditary? He said, absolutely not. It's not hereditary. So I was concerned about other members of my family having it. But he said, rest assured, it's not a hereditary trait. He said, now, is it familiar? There's no research that shows it. So again, thanks for stopping by on my video and listening to this. If you have any questions, any concerns, just shoot me a text, send me a message or email, and I'll be more than glad to reach out to you and discuss more about AFib. So you have a great day, and see you later.